the individuals that are very empathetic and are crying for pain and disunity around the world are very, very distant from those who are very industrial and successful in leveraging different people's assets into greater bountifulness. The two resonances don't usually get along. And it's a shame. It's a real shame. Because the resonances that feel that empathy and that want to make a difference, they need to learn the technology and the frequency of the industrialist. And the industrialists, without those with the empathy and the connectivity to all, they are a black hole that's insatiable and will bring the world to its knees. They need each other. They need to find respect for each other. For if they respect each other, then there'll be a point of communication. If not on each other's frequencies, but they'll be able to communicate over a higher ideal, a higher love. But so long as there's no respect, as long as there's no dignity and sacredness to the frequency that one has to impart, it puts the other into a reactive state of passive co-creation, wanting to measure for measure. You don't want me to exist, I don't want you to exist. And it's futile. All the protests, all the rocks thrown at windows and things, effigies that are burned down, they're futile. All they end up doing is resonating the frequencies of death and destruction that they feel. They feel that they're marginalized, and they embody that marginalization, and they broadcast it outwards, and it just reverberates the cycle of tit for tat to a war of attrition. But the solution is in respecting the sacredness of each frequency, what they have to impart, and granting that honor and respect to that frequency, to adopt that language within yourself and speak to them in their language. And speak to them in a language that's natural to them, and bridge from that into a higher frequency of language that transcends words. That you can communicate in the common language, the unified language of archetypes and pictures, or higher ideals, where we are all unified and there is no fragmentation. For we are all different splinters of resonance. I myself belong to the resonance of foundation. There are people in here that belong to the resonance of beauty, and others who belong to the resonance of loving kindness, and some who belong to the resonance of majesty. No one frequency is more important than the other. They are all equally important frequencies in order to help manifest the true love construct. It's only through the variation that we will discover the poignancy of unconditional love, which none of these frequencies come into this world bearing. But we need all the diversity to discover unconditional love in this portal, in this material realm. And when we discover unconditional love, we have great respect for each resonance, for the lesson they impart, for the truth that they have within, and the lessons they're teaching from within or without that help drive an individual to help manifest the higher love, to help manifest unconditional true love, because it creates the conditions of choice. It creates the conditions of oppression in the face of that love to help actualize it as being true. And so they are all sacred. And when they're all recognized as sacred, they begin to warm up and stop acting out of want and need, but acting out of the grace of that they are. And then a higher love can communicate. For in witnessing it in another, they begin to learn the language, that it exists and that it's true and it is all that is. And they begin to remember it from within. And then we can begin to leave the primitive ways behind. For in this rubric, all are sacred, all are eternal, all are poignant in the resonance of truth, and they are essential to the lesson of the true love story of reaching the highest grace of love, for which this entire drama was put into play. And so from the eye of eternity, they are all actualized in the highest cadence of love in Source. And we are here to glorify them as such. And together with this resonance, we will render slowly suffering and struggle obsolete in this dimension. There can be peace on earth. There can be true love through the respect and dignity of all.